Good Tuesday morning. It is May 26th. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller, and I'm happy to have you here with us from the weather desk, where we cover today's top weather headlines. We broadcast from the 13 News Now studio serving Southeast Virginia and Northeast North Carolina. But if you're a regular viewer of the weather desk, you know we don't stop just with local weather for the immediate area. We take a look at big weather stories around the country, sometimes around the world, and even beyond that, climate, space issues, all kinds of stuff. Here's what we have for you on tap today from the weather desk. We're going to start off by taking a look at some severe storms that hit the southeast U.S. They turned deadly. There were several fatalities in the southeast. We'll talk more about that with kind of a storm recap as we get things going. And then we're going to take a look at the national severe weather outlook. There are going to be more opportunities for strong to severe storms, maybe some more tornadoes later today. We'll show you what parts of the country need to be most concerned with that. But there are other weather issues to talk about, like a recent heavy rain in the Atlanta metro area has led to a fish kill on the Chattahoochee River. We'll explain why they are attributing this fish kill to the heavy rains around Atlanta and what kind of brought all of this together and how long it's going to take for the fish population in that part of the river to recover. Dust storm captured on video in New Mexico near Albuquerque, and I can tell you it's always something when you see these dust storms. We're then going to talk about parts of the country that are still remaining very, very dry, and then other areas that are potentially going to get swamped. We had some very heavy rain here in Hampton Roads for parts of the area yesterday. And finally, this persistent wet weather pattern we've had through the holiday weekend and now into the early part of this shortened work week. Well, it is making a little difference in our drought situation, but we'll talk about all of that, and then we'll look forward to some brighter days. Eventually, the pattern's going to break, and I'm excited about what's coming up later this week and into the upcoming weekend. So plenty to get into. We're going to start off, though, by taking a look at what's going on with the weather quickly here. Just some spotty showers, southern parts of Chesapeake into southern Virginia Beach. A little bit of activity back across portions of Surrey County. We really haven't seen a lot of rain this morning. There have been areas of rain off to the north, but yesterday we had some heavy downpours. There were flood advisories and warnings out with the heavy rain, and quite honestly, we've needed the rain. One thing folks did not need was severe weather, and that was occurring over parts of the southeast U.S. I want to take you down to Mississippi and Alabama here, and you can see things are much quieter this morning as we take a look as of 9 a.m. This is a satellite and then the radar superimposed. You really don't see much across Alabama, just a few showers. Southern Mississippi and Louisiana is in much better shape this morning, but this area was rocked yesterday. I can put this loop into motion and show you the heavy, powerful, and severe storms that rolled through this region, and we want to start there. So the severe weather in the southeast, it turned deadly yesterday. Tornadoes and flooding have ripped across several states in the last 24 hours. Here's ABC's Lindsay Tuckman.
Overnight, new video of a suspected tornado slamming into the ABC station in Dothan, Alabama. Security cameras catching the moment one employee tried to leave the building when the glass wall started shaking before a glass pane was smashed and sucked into the storm. Several nearby homes damaged, but no injuries reported. It follows days of severe weather in the Deep South. In Beeville, Texas, first responders racing to rescue a baby from a car stuck in raging floodwaters.
I got the baby out.
The storms turning deadly near Hattiesburg, Mississippi, where a body was found in this submerged SUV. Witnesses reportedly tried to help the driver, but the SUV flipped upside down before she could escape. Powerful winds sending this bounce house flying across a yard in Florida. And in South Carolina, a woman was killed at a restaurant after authorities say strong winds sent a patio umbrella airborne, striking her in the neck. The restaurant, which had opened just one day earlier, saying, "Our hearts are with the family, friends, and loved ones affected by the tragic incident." Meanwhile, outside Nashville, school officials are defending their decision to hold their graduation despite the torrential rain. Some people furious, asking the school to redo the ceremony, but others embracing the downpour.
There was so much fun. Like, the rain made it so much better.
We just honestly, and no pun intended, soaked in the moment and just saw so many of our kids graduate, and they all just had smiles on their faces.
Lindsay Tuckman, ABC News, New York.
All right, so we're going to take a look again. The southeast rocked with those storms, and this was the loop. You can see some of those heavy storms down in North Carolina, South Carolina, the rough weather, and then that line of violent storms that came up through portions of Alabama and into Georgia. This morning, we're looking at some heavy rain over West Texas, and we can take a closer look at this right now. I want to go ahead and show you. We do have some flood advisories, and there is actually a couple of thunderstorm warnings as well. So let's just give you some information very quickly. A couple of thunderstorm warnings here. Again, West Texas. This is for Brewster and Jeff Davis in Pecos County. Again, you can see until 8:15 Central Time, 9:15, so another 9 minutes or so on that warning. And then there's another one to the south. This includes the city of Marathon in Brewster County. Severe thunderstorm warning until 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central. Numerous flash flood warnings off to the north. Andrews, Hobbs, Lovington, Seminole, some of the cities there under these warnings. You can see others, Midland, Stanton, all of these areas. About 110,000 people in that, almost 111,000 people under that flood warning. So some heavy rain down in Texas right now. We'll continue to watch that. I want to talk to you about the severe weather outlook. And as we take a look, you see where it's raining right now. The rough weather down across West Texas. But when we take a look here, the severe weather potential exists for western portions of Montana, southern Minnesota over to Wisconsin, central portions of Kentucky, and then down here across Texas. Primary threats are going to include gusty, damaging winds at elevated risk of those severe storms down across Texas. Lesser, but still an elevated risk back across those other areas, Montana into Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Kentucky. As we take a look at the hail potential, again, the greatest potential, west and central Texas, and then there's that tornadic threat. This is what I really like to focus on, where we have that greater threat for tornadoes. So as we zoom in, some of the cities, Del Rio up through Sonora, and then areas down to the south and east of that, San Antonio down through Tilden. You can see Crystal City included in that level 1 threat. As we look off to the north, it extends all the way up towards Lubbock. Midland, as we mentioned, they're under that flood warning right now. So there's already some rough weather there in Texas, but they're going to need to pay close attention to developing storms as we go a little bit later today, as there is some potential for rotation. So we'll be watching for that. Then across Kentucky, from Lexington, Kentucky, on down south, all the way down through Pine Knot and Middlesboro. You can see Cumberland City, back out towards Bowling Green, these areas all with just a slightly elevated, but elevated threat for tornadic development. This is for today. As we take a look, we'll expand the view, and you'll notice across the entire country, not much of a threat for severe weather unless you live right here in our home market in southeast Virginia. I want to zoom back in. This is the Hampton Roads area. When we talk about Hampton Roads, again, maybe you're newer to the area and you don't know why we call our part here in southeast Virginia Hampton Roads. This is the confluence of several bodies of water. We have obviously the ocean coming in, and there's the bay, but we have the James River, the Elizabeth River, the York. They all come together, and this body of water right here is known as Hampton Roads. It's been referred to that for a long time. That's what the mariners used to call it, and the settlers when they came into our region. So that's Hampton Roads, and you can see we are under this level 1 elevated threat for severe storms. This is for Wednesday. It extends all the way up through D.C., back out towards Charlottesville and Stanton, areas across northern Virginia. And then down across the extreme northern tier of North Carolina, we also have that level 1 threat. So it does include Currituck and Camden, back through Pasquotank, Perquimans, Chowan, these areas, Gates, Hertford, these areas all under the level 1 threat. Our really only identified threat here is gusty winds. The hail threat and the tornadic threat is so low, the Storm Prediction Center doesn't have us outlooked for that. But we do have to watch those gusty winds. So that's what we've been talking about. Again, the severe weather outlook. When we come back, we're going to talk about flash flooding, and it is to blame for killing thousands of fish near Atlanta. We have a look at the conditions along the Chattahoochee River coming up. Welcome back to the weather desk. You know, Georgia's in pretty good shape for the moment. Rain off to the north there, but it has been so incredibly dry across much of the southeast and parts of Georgia down into Florida in exceptional drought. It was this prolonged dry weather and then too much rain coming all at once just north of Atlanta, impacting portions of the Chattahoochee River. That flash flooding is to blame for killing thousands of fish. This happened right here along the Chattahoochee, just north of Atlanta, and it will likely take months for the fish population to recover. Brian Mims has the latest.
I've never seen anything this devastating on any water system.
That's Jason Ulseth, the executive director of the Chattahoochee Riverkeeper. He says the long-running drought caused the river to flow at an extremely low level. Then Wednesday's storm hit when 3 inches of rain dumped on Atlanta in less than an hour. He says very warm and polluted stormwater, along with treated and untreated sewage, gushed into Peachtree Creek, then into the river.
The volume of the stormwater in the sewage was significantly more than the volume of the water in the river.
Ulseth says it wasn't the toxicity of the sewage and stormwater, but the high temperature of the deluge that killed the fish. The warmer the water, the less oxygen it contains, causing fish to suffocate.
All of these combining factors just made for the perfect storm and caused a massive fish kill on Chattahoochee.
He also found black muck coating the riverbanks for miles downstream of Peachtree Creek. He says that likely came from Atlanta's 8-mile-long West Area Tunnel, which stores raw sewage and stormwater runoff to be treated later. It's designed to keep older sewer lines from getting overwhelmed in heavy rain.
The problem on Wednesday was that the tunnel completely filled and then overflowed directly into Peachtree Creek in the Chattahoochee.
All right, coming up next, a dust storm rolls into New Mexico, plus drought conditions across the U.S. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. Quick update. Look at this, a brand new thunderstorm warning just issued. So I'm going to step out of this, or we can take this full, and I'll just quickly keep you updated on this latest development. I was going to say, coming out of the break, that we have about another 13, 14 minutes left in this warning there for Marathon, but we just got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning, and it's this area here. Again, the counties of Brewster and Pecos in West Texas, and we'll zoom in and just show you a little bit more there. You can see Fort Stockton kind of on the edge. A lot of this is some open space, but again, very intense thunderstorms there in West Texas. In addition to that, there are multiple flash flood warnings there over West Texas, there south of Lubbock, around the Midland area. About 111,000 people under this flood warning. So that's not a small town. I mean, it's a good-sized town there. There's some population. Now, I want to turn our attention back over to Albuquerque because a dust storm rolled through that Monday. Check it out. You can see the dust storm moving in from a distance. This time lapse shows conditions in Albuquerque. Officials issued a dust advisory for that city, along with Rio Rancho and some of the other neighboring counties. The storm was powered by strong winds up to 40 miles per hour, making visibility less than 2 miles. The dust storm also impacted interstate travel due to poor visibility. Now, in order to get that dust kicked up, you need the winds, but the ground also very dry around New Mexico here. You can see how much of New Mexico under severe drought, and then the areas shaded in red in extreme drought. We've seen some areas with some very slight improvements relative to how it was a couple weeks ago, but still exceptional drought there in the central and northwest parts of Colorado. Also, they're right along the Utah border. There's some exceptional drought. Same thing, southern Idaho. So there are areas that desperately need the rain. We've been needing the rain as well. We did have some flash flood advisories and warnings yesterday with heavy rainfall across parts of our area. And I want to talk to you about the outlook. We're going to get into the flood potential or excessive rainfall potential as we go along here. So just want to set it up by showing you that exceptional drought down to the south. Again, extreme drought for much of Virginia and North Carolina and portions of the southeast. So how about today? Where are we most likely to see the potential for excessive rain? Well, there's a level 1 threat up in western Montana, but the greater threats are across Texas and then the southeast. So we'll start off here. Again, we're already dealing with multiple warnings out here in West Texas. So as the day wears on, anywhere from Corpus Christi through Dallas and Fort Worth over towards Lubbock and down through San Angelo, Austin, certainly potentially dealing with flash flooding as well as the hill country. So they're going to need to watch that. Now, along the Gulf Coast, New Orleans, southern Mississippi, into Alabama, Montgomery, you see Panama City here, the Florida Panhandle. This is all part of the area that needs that rain up through central Georgia, Atlanta, Columbia, South Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. There's exceptional drought up here in the northwest part of North Carolina. So again, you don't want too much rain all at once, but the fact that there is a likelihood of some excessive rainfall will go to help catch up certainly reservoirs and some of the soils that have been so desperately in need of wet weather. Looks like they're going to get it. For Hampton Roads specifically, it's a level 1 threat today. Just, a possibility we could get some locally heavy downpours enough to create some runoff issues. And that threat continues for Wednesday as well. So not only today, but tomorrow, especially areas inland. And these are some of the areas that need it the most. So this isn't a terrible thing. Looking back across West Virginia, there's that second tier, level 2 threat. Southern Ohio back into Indiana and northern Kentucky. They also have the potential for the excessive rainfall. And then down back through Corpus Christi, Houston, Louisiana, again, all the way up through northern Louisiana, southern extreme portions of Arkansas, and back towards Dallas, that level 2 threat for flash flooding. And that, again, is for tomorrow. All right, we're going to take another quick break. Coming up in just 2 minutes, we'll go over the forecast and look ahead to the coming week. Welcome back to the Weather Desk. You know, in Norfolk, we've had a pretty steamy May. We had that hot stretch of weather last week, much cooler over the weekend and wet. We needed that rain. You saw the rain started late Friday night with some scattered showers, and then we got into steadier rain Saturday, 1/4 inch, 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch, Sunday, and 1/2 an inch roughly in Norfolk yesterday. But there were some areas that got a lot more than that. We could use some more rain. I want to show you the almanac as we take a look at that. Yesterday, again, we had temperatures close to average, a little bit warmer at 81, but this is the number I wanted to show you. With yesterday's rainfall, we are now just under 5 inches below the average so far for the year. So we could use some more rain, and we will see our chances for additional rain today. We've got scattered wet weather across the region. I think late tomorrow and tomorrow evening or tomorrow night into early Thursday, there will be another chance for hit and miss showers. And then drier late Thursday and Friday. Friday's going to be gorgeous. Saturday, a low risk of a stray shower. Sunday looks very nice, and Monday, a very low risk. I think generally partly to mostly sunny as we go Friday through the weekend. But we're going to be watching Saturday as there might be a stray shower. Now, the temperature trend over the coming 10 days, we're going to see temperatures warmer tomorrow. Highs today, upper 70s, maybe low 80s for some. Up into the upper 80s on Wednesday, low 80s Thursday, trending down, cooler over the weekend and into next week, then a little warming by next Friday, back up to 83. As we look forward over that extended outlook, this is into the first week of June through the 6th through the 3rd through the 9th. You can see it's going to be dry, most likely around the Great Lakes region, a little wetter down along the southern tier. Here in Norfolk, we're not really expecting abnormal wet or dry, so just kind of left in the middle. And temperatures, we're going to be pretty close to average as well. Slightly below normal temperatures expected down to the south, and it'll be a little warmer than normal to the north. Here's how things play out today. Again, some scattered wet weather off and on through the afternoon. And then tonight we'll see the chances for a few more cells, maybe a little heavier activity off to the southwest. I think we're dry for much of Wednesday, maybe even some sunshine peeking through, but this sets the stage with the warmer weather for the potential strong to maybe even severe storms coming through late Wednesday evening. As we head into Thursday, lingering showers early Thursday morning will go away, and then we're going to see clearing as we look forward to Friday. As far as rainfall totals go, again, we're going to see varying amounts, maybe an inch or so. Some of the models going a little bit more, others not quite as much. So you take a look here, and the NAM is now down to 0.89. It looks like the HRRR is updating. Earlier this morning, the HRRR was calling for like 1.5 inches to 2 inches. It was an outlier high. Right now, that model's updating. But I can tell you the graph model here with about 2/3 of an inch, GFS and the Euro, about the same, give or take a little bit, between 0.6 and 3/4 of an inch. So the models are still producing rain for Norfolk. We'll keep an eye to it and let you know. As we go through the day, there will be a risk of a few stray showers or storms later today. The rip current threat is lower today. That's good news. If we get a little sunshine peeking through, won't take long before a sunburn develops. Tree pollen, grass pollen, mold, all low, so that's another benefit from some of the rain. We'll certainly take that. The roads are wet. Folks need to be careful out there as we check in with the Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview. It's 74 degrees right now, west winds at 7 miles per hour. All right, temperatures today will top out anywhere from the upper 70s to low 80s. Again, showers hit and miss. We've already been dealing with it, but we'll see some additional scattered wet weather later today. Storms possible late. Some could be strong, maybe even severe. We'll keep an eye to that. Few lingering early morning showers and then drier conditions as we go later Thursday. Friday looks great. I think the weekend's going to be really nice as well. Getting into early next week, some more sunshine, temperatures cooling as we head through the weekend. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Weather Desk. We'll be back here tomorrow morning at 9 with our next edition. Take it easy.